Hi, everybody. My name is Rafa Lombardino, and this is Translation Confessional. Feedback from listeners. As we wrap up Season 1 of Translation Confessional, I'd like to turn the microphone over to the listeners and share their stories and voice messages. Thank you so much for your support throughout this crazy year. Podcasting has kept me sane through social distancing, the kids' remote and hybrid schooling, and a pretty heavy workload since the pandemic hit. I really appreciate all of you being out there and listening to what I had to share about the ins and outs of working as a professional translator for over 2 decades. We have 2 more episodes to go, and they'll be a little different. Then we'll get ready for Season 2 in early January 2021. The first comment I'd like to address was something I received by email. It was from Mihai, and I'm sorry if I'm totally butchering your name. And he was wondering about my name. Well, as you're aware of it, after almost 50 episodes, I introduced myself as Rafa. It's spelled R-A-F-A. And the reason why I say it like this, Rafa, is because I'm Brazilian. And in Portuguese, the R in the beginning of a word sounds like a hard H, as in house or horse. If you're a soccer fan, you should be familiar with soccer stars Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, Romário. All their names start with an R. And if you look up video clips on YouTube that were recorded by Brazilians, or you watch a Brazilian announcer narrating a match, all those names will start with the hard H sound. Well, unless you catch Galvão Bueno, a well-known soccer announcer from Brazil who insists on rolling his initial R's. But he's an exception and has become a kind of an inside joke, so don't take it from him. Some people call me Rafa in an American accent, and even Rafaela when they say my entire first name. I'm fine with Rafa, but Rafaela sounds a little odd to me. Like, you talking to me? And because I live in California, which has a large Spanish-speaking population, I'm also called Rafa, since initial R's in Spanish have the rolling sound. I'm fine with the Latin flavor as well. It's just weird when people assume I'm Mr. Rafa Lombardino, since Rafael is a way more common name than Rafaela in the Spanish-speaking world. Still, I can assure you that I've been a woman for the past 40 years. Unfortunately, I don't often hear my name with an Italian flair, which would be completely natural considering my very Italian last name. As sung by one of my favorite Italian singers, Tiziano Ferro, in a song he recorded to pay tribute to legendary Italian entertainer Raffaella Carrà, it would sound a little like this.
E Raffaella canta a casa mia, e Raffaella balla a casa mia, e non mi importa niente, non può entrare altra gente, e Raffaella canta a casa mia, e Raffaella è mia, e tutto il vicinato ascolta il repertorio.
Moving on on to some more feedback. It's been great to receive emails and messages on social media from former students who have been listening to Translation Confessional after taking my classes at UCSD Extension. I'm always happy to hear from them and have kept in touch with many who are now my peers, as they've been pursuing a career as translators and interpreters. Even though she hasn't been my student, I got a message from Suzy, a translation student in São Paulo, and it really warmed my heart.
Olá, eu sou a Suzy de São Paulo, estudante de tradução inglês-português.
Suzy said that she's been using my podcast in some paraphrasing exercises to improve her listening skills in English. So she pretty much listens to the episodes and tries to write down what I'm saying, but in Portuguese. I cannot find the words to express how happy I am that Translation Confessional is helping beginning translators so many miles away and yet so close to my first home.
Obrigada, Rafa.
I also heard from Kimberly, who's a beginning translator here in the United States.
I am new in this field, and I am so appreciative to have found this podcast to be able to have a better understanding of what I'm going to be facing in this career that I'm very excited to be in, but know very little about. So thank you so much for what you do, and I'm loving your podcast.
As for feedback about some episodes in particular, I'll bring you more voice messages right after this. Before we continue, I wanted to tell you about Better World Books. It's a great website to search for new and used books in several categories. You can find textbooks about translation, interpretation, and languages, as well as translated and original fiction and nonfiction. Some deals qualify for free shipping, which can really come in handy when you're on a budget. If you'd like to check out Better World Books, go to this webpage, bit.ly/TC-BWB. It's easy to remember. TC for Translation Confessional and BWB for Better World Books. Once again, the webpage is bit.ly/TC-BWB. Hope you like it. First up, we have a dear friend who's not a translator, but enjoyed one of the episodes where I mentioned something that happened connected to language learning and listening to music.
Hi, Hoffa. This is Natalie. It's the first time I'm trying this, and I just listened to your language skills sent me to the principal's office podcast, and that was really funny. I really enjoyed it. So hopefully you get this, and I hope you guys are doing well, and we miss you guys, and we hope when this is over, we can take a much-needed trip to San Diego. Okay, be safe, be well. Bye.
Then I heard from Patrick about one of the very first episodes I put out there about something that we all have to think about in order to build confidence.
Good morning, Ms. Lombardino. I just heard your podcast titled Imposter's Syndrome, and it was excellent, short and sweet, and to the point. Thank you. Keep them coming.
Another translation student who left some feedback was Dihia from Algeria. It's so great to know that Translation Confessional is reaching listeners so far away from where I am. And it's great to know that the podcast is making translation students think about things that are not related to theory or to language, but to professional behavior as well.
Translation Confessional is one of my best podcasts. As a passionate languages learner and a student interested in translation studies, I have learned a lot of tips and updated information related to translation from your podcasts. One best episode that changed a lot of perspectives about my future career, and the one I was listening to 100 of times, is the one entitled Personal Time, Personal Space, because it points out different areas students and translators should obey to stay professional, especially on social media. I just want to say that it's your very important content that pushed me today to share this record with you. Thank you, Translation Confessional. Thank you, Rafa Lombardino.
I also heard from Gio Lester. a dear friend, very respected translator and interpreter who is currently the president of ABRACES, the Brazilian Translators Association. She was actually the first one to drop me a message, and it was great to hear about her experience, actually a negative experience she had, even though she has dedicated so many years to the translation interpretation industry. And this one relates to no means no. When I talked about a client who tried to correct my translation, really having no authority to do so.
Hi, Huffa. I love the podcast. What happened with me was that someone reviewed the translation and made changes based on her knowledge of what should have been written in the original. And the person actually informed when she sent the comments that she had not read the original, only made the changes necessary in the translation. There was not one correction in terms of grammar or terminology. Simply, she removed sessions and altered them in order to reflect the new reality of the company. Incredible, but I lost the client anyways. And it was their excuse because they did not want to pay me what I believed was my fair fee.
On a more serious and not so fun note, I also heard from Vanessa, who shared her experience being a Brazilian here in the United States. Thank you so much for sharing your story as it relates to an immigrant's nightmare, one of the episodes that came out most recently.
Hi, my name is Vanessa, and this story happened in Illinois, December of 2004. My mother, who doesn't understand English, went to the local supermarket with me. I parked my car and ran to the store without even waiting for her because it was really cold. So my mom said from the car, kind of loud and in Portuguese, "You forgot the lights on?" I answered in Portuguese, "It's automatic, let's go." A woman came out of nowhere and started screaming at us, "English! This is America!" She was acting crazy. My mom could obviously notice that she was talking in a very aggressive tone and wanted to know what was going on. I didn't want to get in any trouble. I said to my mom, "Walk fast and don't look at her." So we did, and that was it.
And finally, to wrap up all the audio messages that I got, I just wanted to thank Robert for actually putting this little light bulb on top of my head, because I had never thought about how this podcast is actually a collection of little essays.
Hey, Rafa. This is Robert. I just discovered your podcast on LinkedIn, and I just wanted to say that that it's really nice, and congratulations on making a cool podcast. Yeah, I really like the format, and it's nice to hear like these little essays. So cool. Thank you.
Well, these are all the voice messages I got, but I got so many more messages through social media, so many private emails that were sent to me. And I just wanted to thank everybody again because you made me feel less lonely. I'm just talking here in front of a microphone, but just getting your reactions, your stories, things that were very similar that happened to you as a translator interpreter, it really made my year. And this year was so crazy that any little joy, we just have to hold on to it and really appreciate it. So thank you again. And if you ever feel like you want to share your story, you want to talk about something you heard here at Translation Confessional, do not hesitate to reach out. You can leave a message on my Anchor page. You can send me an email at rlombardino@wordawareness.com. You can reach out to me through social media. I am everywhere, literally. So don't be shy. Share your story. And maybe I'll be able to put listeners' feedback episodes more often. So talk to me. Let me know what's going on. I would love to hear from you. Stay tuned for the next 2 episodes. I'll be wrapping up this season the second week of December. Then I'll take a little break before I come back for season 2 in January. And the next 2 episodes will be interviews. They were fun to put together. They were kind of improvised. I just pretty much turned on the mic and interviewed people that are very, very close to me. So I hope that you enjoy what we talked about and keep that feedback coming so we can shape Translation Confessional Season 2 in 2021. Thank you. Bye. Stay tuned for weekly episodes and subscribe to Translation Confessional through your favorite podcast app.